Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Tuesday in Nashville, Tennessee. Boy, it could not be much nicer. Maybe give us about 10 degrees warmer and it'd be perfect. But beggars cannot be choosy. And we welcome all of you to our digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. We have a show that's pretty predictable today. Tony Basilio at 3:20, and I suspect we're going to learn some new stuff that we may not know. And then I'm going to do something a little different at 4 o'clock. I am going to empty the Facebook mailbag about this issue. Because let's face it, this is what y'all are talking about. This is maybe the most explosive issue that I have seen as far as the reaction to it in a long, long time. By the way, tomorrow, Terry McCormick will join us, and he will tell us why the Titans are selecting Cam Ward and how they went to that process. So there we go.
So it's official.
Well, I don't know that it's official, but apparently he feels good enough. He has written a long piece, TitanInsider.com, about it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So let's say hello to Kelly Holcomb, who joins us from Murfreesboro. Kelly, how are you?
I'm good, George. How you doing?
I'm good.
Shirt's messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go the other side.
Yeah.
Anniversary today, man. 30 years. I've been married longer than old
Really?
William has been on this earth.
Would you let your wife know that there is a place in heaven for people like her?
That's what everybody says. Why do
Who
they say
put up
that?
with people like you? Wow! Congrats.
Appreciate it, man. I definitely.
Or are you using coupons? Hold on.
No, I'm
Billy's
not going to.
telling me.
We're not going to Crystals. That's for sure.
Okay. Are we going somewhere nice?
Well, we thought about going to Cane Prime, but she's leaving tomorrow to go to Valdosta. Her and her mom are going to get my son. They wanted to go down there, and then we're going probably next week. But she likes High Point. There's a place up on Mont Eagle Mountain. Have you ever been to High Point, George?
Mm-mm.
You know what it
No, I
is?
haven't. No, I know it's a
where
school in North Carolina.
Well, it's
Not the
a
same.
place where Al Capone, he had a girlfriend there, and he would stop from Chicago to Miami, and that was kind of halfway. And it's a pretty cool little deal, man. It's a house, and
Really?
there's rock that are out that, like, if he had to make a quick escape, if somebody knew was there, he could crawl down the side. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool place, but it's a restaurant now. Good restaurant. My wife loves it.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, it
Okay,
is
so
interesting.
Billy, right off the bat, we've been educated.
Yeah, look at Kelly providing early to the show.
Yes, that's right, Billy. I'm trying to help you because we know that this update coming is sketchy at best.
Oh, it's
Oh, yeah. That's right. You need to be quiet because you're not sure. You have no confidence in yourself, Billy. Grow up.
Have we lost you?
We're good now.
I think I'm here now. Should be
Okay.
good.
So Brent
We're good.
says that is an outstanding place to eat. There we go.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So when you're there, sell them some advertising. We're always looking for new sponsors. Yes, I'd like to order a steak and a baked potato, and we need 2 weeks of advertising. That'll go over well.
I don't know if that would do that because I don't know if you can pick up 94.9 on Mont Eagle Mountain.
Yeah. You know, we have ways. Billy,
Maybe.
yesterday, it appeared to me that you took on some water with a cheap shot that you tried to throw at both Kelly and I about lack of proficiency in stat of the day.
I mean, Watson
Yeah.
steps in after 2 months. That's embarrassing.
That was good. That was good for Watson. I could not think of Danny Will.
Oh.
I'm thinking like a UK golfer. Like, good gracious, who else is from there? They're all from Northern Ireland and other places, but like English golf. Like, I knew that Justin Rose hadn't done it, but like Danny Willett.
My
There you
two
go.
best answers were Rex Chapman and Kyle Macy.
And then Billy wants to run his little mouth thinking it's
Yeah.
easy. He just reads it.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
that
just
was
read
bad.
it, Billy.
I say it how it is. That
You
was,
got
I know, but just
clobbered.
read it, and we don't need anything from the peanut gallery. Just read it and go on
Yeah.
about your business.
George is
Oh,
dying.
Watson hasn't been on for 2 or 3 months, and he got it. Wow.
I mean, it's true. I mean, that was
Nobody
that was
cares,
bad on your
Billy.
part.
Nobody cares. Move on.
God, relax.
This is going to be a great show, isn't it?
Yes.
I wish Tony was on right now to hear this.
I was gonna say happy anniversary, but not anymore.
Well, you can tell my wife happy anniversary.
Yeah.
And that there's a
She's
place
been-
in heaven for her.
Absolutely.
She's been
Yeah.
married. She's been married to the big dog for a long time here, 30 years. She loves her some Kelly now. There's no
What-
question.
What,
Somebody for everybody.
what on God's earth?
Oh,
was she-
absolutely.
What was
As
she
witnessed by
thinking?
you, Hoss.
Do you want to try the update at this point?
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, after all
Good
that,
idea.
I don't know how you come back from that, but
Mm.
brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. You can find her online at mortgageladyusa.com or give her a call, 615-969-4350. Earlier today, Lipscomb announced the hiring of Trevecca head coach Kevin Carroll to replace Lenny Acuff. Carroll spent 4 years as an assistant on Acuff's staff at Lipscomb before going to Trevecca a couple of years ago. He also played for Acuff at Berry College and was an assistant when Acuff was at Alabama Huntsville. So
Seems to me this was predicted on the show a week ago.
Yeah.
Yes. That's me
I thought
with
one
kind of
of
a
his
how great thou art moment.
yeah,
I thought one of his assistants, Coach Murray, I thought he might have had a shot. I'm sure that he was in the running.
Yeah. I mean, Philip Hutchison had to move quickly, and
Yeah.
Kevin will do a good job. Congrats to him, and I'm sure at some point here in the next week or so, we will get him on to talk about it.
Also, earlier today, NC State transfer guard Mike James committed to Vandy. He didn't play this year because of a knee injury he suffered in the preseason. He redshirted all the way back in 2021 after tearing his Achilles before playing 2 years at Louisville under Kenny Payne, those 2 dreadful years. He did average 13 points a game as a redshirt sophomore a couple of years ago. So Vandy's now got TCU's Frankie Collins, Jalen Washington from North Carolina, and Mason Nicholson from Jacksonville State. So Vanderbilt getting going in the portal, bringing over Mike James. I think they'll be getting another one here in the next couple of days.
So Mike James and Taylor Barnett are very close from Taylor's
Yes.
days on the Louisville staff. He spoke very highly of him earlier today.
Yeah, James 6'5", and people forget how many players Vanderbilt lost from this past year's team. So it's another semi rebuild this year for Coach Mark Byington. So they bring in Mike James from NC State. Also, Purdue point guard Braden Smith is returning for his senior season. He said on social media, "Running it back one last time. Purdue has given me everything. There's still more to prove, more to accomplish, and more moments to create." So I don't think he's an NBA player. So this could be his last year of, will be his last year of college. He'd probably be playing somewhere overseas. But Braden Smith coming back for his senior year. Also, the Nico saga continues. Obviously, we know he's done for in Knoxville, but we heard about Tulane being a potential landing spot. Apparently, they've pulled out of the Nico sweepstakes. So no Tulane. We'll see if UCLA is still involved. We've heard about USC. I'm sure Tony will enlighten us on that. So no
Buffalo Bulls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where Nico lands.
Wonder what kind of conversations old Nico and Big Daddy have had in the last 48 hours. I'd like to be a fly on the wall for some of those.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Also, in the NFL, the Dolphins are having trade talks with other teams about star cornerback Jalen Ramsey. General Manager Chris Greer said, "We decided it was probably in the best interest for all parties to move forward."
Honk if you've heard that one before.
Honk, honk.
Yeah.
A bunch.
I feel like he's how many teams he been on now? He's Dolphins.
Are we including BGA?
He was at BGA.
Yeah, for a little while.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Also, Colorado two-way star Travis Hunter told CBS Sports earlier today that none of the teams he's met with ahead of the NFL draft had made an issue of him playing both ways. However, if an NFL team told him he had to focus on wide receiver or cornerback and not play both, it would be game over for him. He said, "I'm never playing football again because I've been doing it my whole life, and I love being on the football field. I feel like I could dominate on each side of the ball, so I really enjoy doing it."
So let's ask the expert here. Kelly, how crazy is the thought of him playing, let's say, 100 plays a game in the NFL, 70 on defense, 30 on offense? How difficult would that be?
I think it's real. Like you've had guys like Deion Sanders and Brian Jordan and other guys play both sides of the way. I just don't think you can. I don't know, man. I think that would be really tough at the professional level, George. I really do. I mean, there's guys the athletes on those teams. Like I've seen some tremendous athletes that could probably have played both ways, but like it's so consuming, and a lot of it has to do with there's so much more involved in the classroom that you have to think about. He's going to have to go to defensive meetings and he's going to have to go to offensive meetings. I just don't like the playbooks. I looked at my Indianapolis Colts playbook with Lindy and Fonte, and it was over 1,000 pages. I mean, that thing is that thick, and like, how can you be your best if you're playing both ways? I don't know how that. I think he could probably do it on the field because he has always been doing that. I think it would be a little taxing, but I think the classroom and learning both sides of the ball, are you creating the best for yourself? And I don't think he could do it, George. I really don't. We'll have to wait to see. But I think that's a crazy statement to say if somebody wants me to play one way and that's all they think I am, I'm not playing football ever again. That's kind of crazy.
Well, Hunter and Shedeur Sanders will have their Colorado jerseys retired already on Saturday as part of the spring game festivities. So it didn't take long for that. Also, wow. We have an SEC Media Days schedule.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Go to the next story real quick.
Former NFL tight end Don Hasselbeck, who won a Super Bowl in his 9-year career and was the father of 2 NFL quarterbacks, of course, Matt and Tim, who are both now at Innsworth, passed away yesterday at the age of 70.
Yeah, we want to pass on our condolences from the show to the Hasselbecks. I never knew Don, never met him. But he helped raise 2 really good sons. And so our thoughts and prayers are with them.
Wow. Doing a great job. Both of those guys are at Innsworth as well. The SEC Media Day schedule is here. It'll be July 14th through the 17th. Clark Lee will speak on that Monday, and Josh Heupel will speak on that Tuesday. So that's what we've got for Media Days.
And we will be there.
Aloha. Also in the NBA, this morning, Mavericks general manager Nico Harrison and new CEO Rick Welts held an hour-long session with Dallas-based media. I'm sure that was interesting. Harrison said there's no regrets on the Luka trade. Part of my job is to do the best thing for the Mavericks, not only today, but also in the future, and some of the decisions I'm going to make are going to be unpopular. That's my job, and I have to stand by it.
Okay, so a couple of thoughts on this. First of all, the trade happened on Groundhog Day, February 2nd. So how stupid is it? Among the stupid pieces of this story How stupid is it that this is the first time they have gotten in front of the Dallas media to really talk about it? I mean, number one, that's idiotic. Number two, this narrative that they've tried to throw out there, and don't get me wrong, I'm biased. I'm a huge Luka Duka fan. Love the guy. But this whole narrative about his weight being the issue. Okay, I've seen him at times where I thought he's a little pudgy. But you know, when he led them to the NBA Finals a year ago, I never heard anybody say, wow, what a fat slob. How could he possibly get this team here? Because he's Porky the Pig. I never heard that. Now, does he show up oftentimes at the start of a season a little overweight? Yeah, he does. Does he also average 20-plus points per game? Yeah. First of all, shame on the new CEO who, when he was informed of the trade, said, go ahead and do it. What an idiot. Okay, Nico Harrison is a blithering idiot. To think that this was going to go over in the Metroplex. This guy, Luka Doncic, was incredibly popular, right up there with whatever level of popular, the highest popularity Dallas Cowboy was. And this is not one of these part of my job, I'm going to make decisions that are unpopular. No, we're talking about trading a generational talent, giving the Lakers a gift and pissing off your fan base. That's what really, about.
Yeah, that really took them to the NBA Finals pretty much by himself.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the supporting cast, and the supporting cast really did a very nice job a year ago getting them there. But this was Luka.
Yeah.
And
he's the guy.
This guy's going to end up getting fired at some point over this, because I'm not convinced in the Metroplex that they are ever going to get over this guy doing this unless they win at such a level that you can't ignore it. And the last time I checked, the Mavs are in the play-in game tomorrow night. Not the NBA Finals, not the 3 seed, the play-in game. Thank you. Yeah.
Also, real quick, Damian,
I kind of went off on that, didn't I?
That's a nice tirade. I like it.
It was.
Damian Lillard will miss the start of the playoffs because of a blood clot in his right calf. The Bucks play game 1 of their first-round series Saturday against the Pacers. Unclear whether they will get him back or not.
No, they're hopeful, but most importantly right now is that he's healthy.
Yeah.
That if this does happen, that he's healthy.
That's what I got.
Okay. If I was going to think about one interview on this show over the last couple of years that would be can't miss, it's today with Tony Basilio. There is no telling where we're going with this, but he will join us after the break, and it will be good. And it'll probably tell you some things you didn't know. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds open a 6-game series in Charlotte. Pre-game at 5:20.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Well, as all of you know, Tony Basilio is as wired to what's going on at the University of Tennessee as anybody. So as we bring him up here, my first question, Tony, is what have your last 3 or 4 days been like?
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm wired all right. I'll tell you one thing, George. This is, I got to fix my hat here, man. I'm all disheveled. I just took a nap in honor of this because I'm hosting some people at the baseball stadium tonight out on one of the porches. So I got to fit my man Plaster into this. I'll tell you, George, this era of college football, till they put guardrails around this stuff, these people are not going to behave. They're not. And Nico's people they're just not serious people. I mean, and people are like taking shots at Heupel. And look, I'm not afraid to criticize anybody. I mean, I never have. And when you're making the money these people are making, I mean, you know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, what were they supposed to do? I mean, they didn't know they were getting involved with crazy. But that's the reality. The reality of this is that Tennessee got involved with crazy here. And it's not the kid's fault. The kid didn't do it. But I've done a couple of YouTube videos, George, over the weekend. And I'm starting to communicate that way when I'm off the air because it's just a quick way to do it. Because generally what I would do when the Vols were in crisis is I would get in the studio here and start taking calls, after hours.
Right.
And that would turn into like a 3-hour marathon. And so this little jumping on YouTube just for a few minutes. I mean, we had I don't know, 15 or 20,000 people view some YouTube video. I'm going what are we doing? But Tennessee over the weekend, the genesis of this is they found out maybe 3.5 weeks ago. I found out now a good 3 weeks ago through somebody that's on another staff in the SEC that used to be here, who said, "Hey, have you heard that Nico's father's shopping him around?" And I thought, no, I have not heard that. But nothing is surprising about Nico's father. The guy is literally nuttier than a fruitcake, okay? So anything's possible. Well, the story goes that the head coach at Oregon, Dan Lanning, picked the phone up and called Josh Heupel and said, "Hey, man, I just got a phone with a guy saying that he's Nico's representative, and they're wanting to know if we'd entertain them transferring. They're wanting to leave you." And I believe Heupel in Tennessee said, "Okay, well, we're going to file that one away." And I think they've made a list, George. And I think they're visiting with quarterbacks. Not Heupel per se, because you have to have, you have to have a wall of separation. But I think over the weekend they visited with at least one quarterback that I know of, pretty much while the orange and white game was going on. This thing blew up on Friday. The kid told the quarterback's coach after going silent on him all day, finally reached out and texted the quarterback's coach late Friday night. Tennessee already had a representative on the way to see a quarterback, a sitting starting quarterback in college football. And I think they're going to talk to a few others. So that is where we are. And the portal opens tomorrow, and you got about a week to get it done. And the thing you don't want to do if you're Tennessee is you don't want to do it too quickly, because then you look like you tampered with somebody for sure. So you want to kind of make it look good for TV, as we say in the trade. And the other thing is you want to get somebody quickly enough that your receivers don't transfer on you.
So, the second guessing is easy, but I'm going to play that game a little.
Mm-hmm.
Should Heupel have called in the father at some point and said, "Listen, I'm getting tired of your crap"?
No, it wouldn't have helped.
Wow.
The father's nuts. I mean, think about this. The kid was going to play on a Southeastern Conference football team this year, team that made the playoffs last year, kind of in spite of his son. Okay, I mean, let's just call this what it is. And he made George, $2.5 million last year playing football. Okay, and so he made $2.5 million last year playing football, or something of that ilk, $2 million, whatever it is. And let's put it this way: better than local radio money. And
Yes,
and George,
I can confirm.
And George, they're looking around. I mean, what are you going to say to a guy like that?
Right. It's just greedy as all get out.
What's nutty? Yesterday on social media, when the North Carolina door slammed on them, you know how much Bill Belichick would put up with Nico's father? That would be not at all. When that report came out, I thought there's no way in the world that's going to happen.
We have a quote from Bill. We're on to Cincinnati.
Yeah, exactly. And so what's going to end up happening is today the Nakos guy from who had the initial report that became a real touch point in all this when it exploded Thursday night. He reported that they were trying to negotiate for more money. Tennessee told them Tuesday of last week, you're not getting another dime out of us. Your kid was a replacement level player last year. Now, they wouldn't say that to him. I would. Your son was an average college quarterback last year. I'm sorry, to use Kelly Holcomb's language, I'm sorry, Hoss. I didn't do it. And your son last year was a replacement level player. Your son's overrated. You're lucky you're making $2.3 million. And they tried their stunt back in December, and it didn't work then. Tennessee maybe gave him a little bit of a raise just to kind of keep everybody in the boat. And this guy goes out a few months later and is out there shopping him around the West Coast. And I got news for you. Oregon didn't want him. USC didn't want him. North Carolina didn't want him. Today, the Nakos guy said if he cuts his asking price to $1 million, there are several schools that will want to do business with him. He was going to make $2.4 million here. That's a little bit of a miscalculation from Pops there. Just a slight miscalculation. And here's the thing about the father. He's not a serious person. These are not serious people. Serious people do not behave this way. And I don't know if you're Tennessee, that class was the year they decided, hey, we're going to make a big splash. Arch Manning's the only guy left, and then the kid that transferred to Oregon. But Arch Manning's the only kid left from the top 10 that's at the same school he was at. I mean, it is a washout class, like a washout. So that's where we are. Tomorrow the portal opens. How long till Tennessee has a quarterback? My guess is they don't do anything tomorrow because then it looks like you've tampered.
Right.
Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday. And the other thing I think that's happened here is I talked to somebody in the agent space is there will be people that'll reach out to Tennessee that maybe they didn't even anticipate reaching out to them, but they're probably going to get used for some raises, George. But when you have the stadium Tennessee has, you have the resources Tennessee has, you have the tradition they have. You played in the playoffs last year. You have a head coach that's got a very good modern offense where you can do some damage. I mean, that's a lot. And the last quarterback made $2.4 million. And George, these boosters don't get in this thing to get embarrassed like that, the way they got embarrassed over the weekend.
Yep.
That could easily grow to $4 million for the right person when these boosters get angry. They spend.
So I'm guessing you've heard the TJ Hushmanzada stuff.
Doesn't surprise me.
You've heard it.
Sure. Yeah.
What was your reaction? I mean, is this just a bunch of crap he threw out there, or is there anything about what he said that is remotely true?
Wide receivers live on parallel universes. That's where they live. Would be the way I'd reply to that. Let me tell you something. Why would you change your offense? Who gets the offense changed for him? For a replacement level quarterback? Who is this guy? Is he Aaron Rodgers? I might change my offense for Joe Burrow at LSU. For that Nico guy, who, I mean, literally, who looks like Ali G. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
Okay, we're off and running. Kelly, your witness.
Let me ask you this, Tony. What was it? You know, I get this is what I get sick of. All this stuff is sickening to me, but when you hear about handlers, was it more of the dad or was it handlers as well? Are the handlers telling the dad this, or is the dad saying, I want to do this?
No,
What's going on? Is it all dad?
The dad's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's what I was told by somebody in Tennessee's program. This spring, the kid had become a real leader. and was getting more vocal around the team. And then like 10 days, 2 weeks ago, the dad showed back up and the kid started to clam back up again.
Really?
The father is a very, very, very like a choking presence around this whole thing. Kind of like a big bully. Kind of like a big bully type. Kelly, you've seen them in sports. You've seen these parents. And now that you're in an era where these kids are the breadwinners in the family,
it gets even worse.
Yeah, it's going to get even worse. And when that's your orientation, and that's how you're oriented, that's, we were talking about today on the air. It makes sense why Nico never looked like he affected football games, because he had this presence in his life that was affecting him so much. It's hard to bring that on the field when you have all that on you. Todd Marinovich talks about that in his 30 for 30. It's very hard to bring that on a field when you have that. It's hard enough to play these sports without that stuff weighing on you.
Do you think that they I feel like, and you just talked about it, you said if he lowers it to $1 million, which $1 million is still too much for me with all this stuff, but do you think he's got does his dad realize that he was making $4 million? Is that what he was making?
Yeah.
Like he's not going to, nobody wants that problem. And he has hurt his son in a way that I'm not sure that we'll know right off the bat, but we're going to find out pretty quick. Because I don't know if anybody wants to deal with that.
He could ruin his kid's career. I mean, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the guy's got an NFL arm, but there's way more to playing in that league than throwing the ball hard.
Got to be accurate. He struggles.
And you got to really think.
Yep.
You got to be able to go to the line, and he showed no ability last year to make quick decisions. He just didn't. And and I'm not saying anything about that young man that I wouldn't say if he were still here. Now the dad's a nut, and I didn't say that the whole time the dad was here because I'm not going to do that. I mean, who's going to start that? But now that they've done this, which is just an unprecedented stunt. I mean, who does this? It's a borderline career suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense to do this. None. I mean,
Zero.
when I say borderline career, like Kelly's saying, okay, well, Tennessee got involved with them, but what did they know? The next person knows. Buyer beware. The dad was popping off last night on social media saying, hey, all you people out there saying that we're going to get $4 million at our next stop. Sure you are. Yeah, sure you are. Santa Claus is going to come through my chimney tonight, and he's bringing the Easter Bunny with him. I mean, what are you kidding me? You're not getting the two schools they're involved with, UCLA and Tulane. They couldn't get $4 million combined from those two teams. I mean,
Tulane backed out. Billy said Tulane backed out.
There you go.
And it was Knockos that apparently reported that, right, Billy?
Yep.
Say hello to Uncle Tony.
Hello, Tony.
Billy, how we doing? We need to talk again, man.
Let's do it.
Here we go again.
Resumes changing.
And I asked a guy this yesterday. How was this weighing on his teammates? Because his teammates have got to be looking at this and saying, you got to be kidding me. You're making $2.4 million. You're the highest paid guy on the team. Like, what are we doing? Like, what? I mean, and the guy told us yesterday that teammates were ready to move on because they were getting angry about what was going on. And you say that he was going to be a leader. I've heard other things, but what were his teammates thinking about all this? Because I promise you this: if they would have brought him back with all the trouble that's going on right now, that would be a mutiny against Josh Heupel. And you got to give it to Josh Heupel. I mean, I didn't know much about him, But at least he's taking a stand. And Nick Saban had something to say about it, I think, on Twitter today or something. But he wrote a post, and it was really good about how Josh Heupel stood up, and he's standing up against all this crap that's going on. And this is only the beginning, Tony. That we talk about that all the time, but it's only the beginning of all this. And I just wonder what fans it's got to be turning fans off every day.
It is, Kelly, but how do you say this? We love drama, and this is a male soap opera. You know, the sports space and the sports world that we're in. And Tennessee had a very sleepy spring here. George, in our appearances, how much spring football do we talk?
None.
It's been a very, very sleepy spring here, and then all of a sudden, the eve of the orange and white game, which is totally sleepy, which wasn't even going to be televised, which is just going to be a kind of a nothing burger. Boom. And the original plan was they were going to go through the spring game and Sunday, clean their stuff out and go do something. That's what they originally planned on doing. They're very surprised today that there's no market for their son. No market. And one of the things that's exacerbated that is because I didn't see the Tulane report because I just, like I told you, I grabbed a nap. But one of the things that is in the background here is the word's out. The dad's nuts. Like, I'm not telling you he's half crazy. I think the kid is a good kid. I think the kid is a kid that tries. I think he worked hard. I don't know that he's got a real ability to process at the line of scrimmage. He seems a tick slow to me. He did not fit Tennessee's offense. He does not want to run with the ball. He's a very reluctant runner. He's not an athletic runner. He just didn't fit what they did. Maybe he makes a nice quarterback for somebody. Maybe he gets his career back on track. But boy, not good. And Tennessee is said to be involved. At least one report I've got here that's from a place called WTOL, which is in the footprint of the Big 12, saying that Tennessee's involved with 3 Big 12 quarterbacks right now: Avery Johnson, Rocco Becht, and Sawyer Robertson. And I can't tell you whether they are or aren't. I do know they met with a quarterback over the weekend. I do believe the quarterback was in the Big 12 because that's what I was told. And George, you'll love this. I asked my source, well, what was the name? And my source goes, I forget.
By the way,
George, have you ever been there? Have you ever been there where you got somebody gives you something and they go, I forget the name? And I said, hey, listen,
that doesn't
next time
do me
you forget
good.
the name, forget to call me. Okay.
So the Avery Johnson kid is from Kansas State, and I have seen him.
Yeah.
Got really long hair.
That's
and
him.
Unbelievably talented.
Well, he's a wild stallion type athlete is what he is.
Absolutely.
Can run around. I'm not sure what he can throw. Watching him play last year, if we were having a snowball fight and I was choosing sides, he'd play for the other team because he'd hit his guys half as much as he'd hit me. But I will tell you this.
You better take me on that, Tony. You better take me.
Oh, you'd be my first pick, Kelly.
That's right, baby.
Unless you're about, there, and I'm sure you'd pick Peyton. At least till you're 75. At least till you're about 75. But
I can still hit a flea off a fly's tail, Hoss.
This Avery Johnson guy is a nice athlete. The Beck kid from Georgia Tech or from Iowa State, rather, is a nice. Is a great competitor. Sawyer Robertson. I had somebody tell me over the weekend when I told them the league, and they thought that that's who Tennessee was involved with, and I'm not sure if he fits what they do, but that's the other thing. If you're Tennessee, you're in a real conundrum right now. I don't know if you have to worry about who fits your league. You need somebody for 1 year that you can plug in that, you don't want to take the 2 young kids that played in the spring game. And the McIntyre kid, George, who Watson has a close relationship with that family. I mean, that kid in his uniform, it looks like Manute Bol.
Yeah,
from
he's
back
going
in
to
the
need
day.
some weight room. He's a great kid.
Oh, he needs to gain about 75 pounds,
Yeah.
though. I mean, you put him on an SEC field, man, and I mean, they hit him hard one time, George, and they're cleaning him up with a dustpan and a brush. I mean, there'll be body parts everywhere. That poor kid is so thin. So, you know, our fans over the weekend were telling me, "Oh, yes, just play with who you have," and I'm going, guys. I'm going, guys and gals. This is not a Disney movie. Southeastern Conference football is not a Disney movie. So,
Kelly, you got any more? I want to ask one more if you do not.
Well, I was going to ask, you know, what are people saying? It seems like everybody's backing Josh Heupel right now. But George, and we talked about it yesterday, you know, in this society and in this college sports atmosphere, everybody's behind him now. But if he gets somebody and he goes 6-6, they're not going to be behind him next year. You know?
well, I don't know, because you can always play the Nico screwed me card.
That's true.
And I do think that works. And you're a coach that's won 10 games in 4 years here, twice. But you're also a coach whose offense last year lost altitude. So it was going to be interesting whether Nico was here or not. I think this team was going to have a tough time getting back to the playoffs, because I just do. I think they lost too much. This certainly doesn't help things, but you never know. Maybe they come out of this thing with somebody that fits their deal better. And then how do you ramp them up between now and then? Let's say they get the Johnson kid. How would you ramp him up between now and then to where you could hit the ground running and have an opportunity against an SEC schedule? I'll tell you this. If that were to happen, the rest of college football will be cheering for Tennessee. They're wearing a white hat in this. What that family did to them, if you've noticed. Now, obviously, guys like TJ Hushmanzada and some of these wide receiver types, they're never going to be on the side of management or coaches. Those people, and Kelly will tell you that. That's wide receivers are just their own. They're in their own deal. I mean, they're in their own world.
Man.
They're what?
Prima donnas,
Yeah,
man.
if anybody's going to say that's a good thing that a kid left a team, it's some crazy wide receiver like TJ Hushman. Am I lying, Kelly? I'm not lying, am I? No.
No, you're not, man. They always think they're open. They always want to fight you if you don't get them. They're prima donnas, man. They always have been. But that's what makes some of them good, man. You got to have that confidence. But golly, dude, there was a guy I almost got in a fight with in a game, and then I threw the ball to him, and then it hit him in the stomach. It popped up in the air, and then it got intercepted. And I was like, "You keep talking to me about getting you the ball," and then we almost fought on the sideline.
Billy.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions or comments for your daddy?
Well, somebody had a good comment here. What about Sam Levitt at Arizona State?
See, I love this. I mean, let's have fun. How about him? You know, the thing about this is, why would somebody leave when they were a starting quarterback somewhere? But you never know. Maybe somebody's mad at their coach. Maybe somebody doesn't like their offense. Maybe somebody looked at their offensive line and said, "Hey, I'm gonna get hurt."
Or
maybe Nico did all that. Maybe Nico's family pushed this. You know, I don't know.
Or Tony, maybe it's I would love to play in front of 100,000 with the level of passion that base has. Because let's face it, Arizona State does not have that.
No, Iowa State, Arizona State, Kansas State, Baylor, none of those places are you going to get the buzz that you're going to get here. And you know what? In the Southeastern Conference, it just means more, as I say. And as Nico's family is finding out, it just pays more.
Wow. So we're using a new one.
Yeah.
Man, will this make for an interesting SEC football media day in Atlanta? But let's end it the way we always try to. There are people in Middle Tennessee watching this show right now that have never tuned you in Knoxville. I don't mean that as a knock, but there are probably some out there. How do they now find you when they say, man, when this guy's wide awake, this must be a hell of a show?
Yeah, tclub.team is how you find me. Again, tclub.team. And look, I mean, it's been great for our show because, George,
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say and report what I hear and what I've known. And to think my advantage in this deal is I don't have to worry about upsetting people. I'm not a rights holder. I mean, I've only been here 30 plus years doing my thing. And, God willing, maybe I can put in another 20. And who knows? But it has been, I'll tell you this has been bizarre. For a place that majors in bizarre, Tennessee sports down through the years, I mean, this kind of takes the cake. This guy's nuts.
You want a comparison? This feels, for me, the most explosive issue that I've ever dealt with in sports talk radio was Vanderbilt's refusal to admit Ron Mercer almost 30, well, right at 30 years ago, a little more than 30. This one has some of that kind of feel to it where it's great for sports talk radio. I'm not going to lie, in a slower time of year, but it's a sad story. And I don't know if there's a mom in the middle of this, but she needs to get the dad the hell out of the zip code.
Yeah, I don't know the family dynamics. I do know this. I have a guy that's in here who's an athlete with me today, Will Heflin, who pitched at Tennessee. Will said, look, at some point, you're 20 years old. You got to say to your dad, let me live my life.
He's absolutely right.
And that is true. But you know what? In some cultures, if you say that, you'll get the backhand across the chops. So, and I don't know where they are, but I just feel sorry for the kid. I really do. Now, I'm not going to root for his success because in sports, we're allowed to be spiteful and petty, and I'm pretty good at that. In life, we have to forgive, but in sports, I can root against you.
Hey, this has been terrific. Thank you as always.
Thank you.
Obviously have got Kelly's attention.
Hey, listen, I love Kelly, and I'm going to tell you something about Kelly. That man looks good today, buddy. Your hair looks good. You look good, Kelly.
Anniversary, dog. 30 years, man. I'm taking my wife out to eat.
I knew you had that special. You're glowing today, Kelly. You're
That's
glowing.
Right.
Congratulations, man. 30 years. That's beautiful.
Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, Tony,
see you guys.
What kind of life has she had?
A lot of crowns in heaven, George. That's what I say.
Oh, God. Here we go again.
See you later.
She loves her some Kelly, Tony B.
See ya.
Okay, we have violated the Geneva Convention. We have not gone to a break on time. My reaction to that is, who gives a damn? We're back after this on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Flat Rock Motor Club is a members-only driving resort combining a world-class racetrack with exquisite amenities. Located on 800 acres of pristine countryside in the heart of Tennessee, their elite 3.5-mile club track is surrounded by sweeping views of manicured rolling hills. The charm of Tennessee can be felt with every hill you climb. Whether your beverage of choice is sweet tea or whiskey, at their premier driving resort, you will experience a sophisticated blend of country elegance and southern hospitality. For more information, log on to flatrockmotorclub.com.
Here in Nashville for the 7th Country Music Marathon and Half Marathon. I think it says a lot about the city of Nashville, what it has to offer.
Rock and Roll Nashville isn't just a race. It's the best way to experience this iconic city. We're giving you more music, more fun, and more reasons to run with us. Get immersed in music culture and join us for this legendary tour of Nashville.
Thought you were on your way.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
That's good music right there. Billy.
Yep.
So you were the one doing most of the listening. Kelly and I were doing most of the yapping with Tony. What did you cut that with? What struck you?
I mean, I think really what struck me is this just Tony's disdain for Nico's dad. Yeah, we had talked about it and how much of a presence he had been on this whole thing, but I mean, the way Tony's talking about him, and I believe him. I don't, I'm not disagreeing with him, but it's like Tony put it into a whole new perspective that, he's it's kind of a choking presence on this whole thing. And we've seen people like that. He mentioned that, Kelly, you've seen people and parents like that, but man, you hate it for Nico. I mean, you can't imagine how he's felt over the years. Whether it was high school coming up, and these travel circuits and 7-on-7. And I mean, hopefully he gets a hold of this with his dad, because if not, like Tony said, it does feel like it could be some sort of a career suicide, which you don't want to see, but you hate it for everybody.
Kelly, go ahead.
George, when you're under the roof of your parents, yeah. That's the whole deal. They got you. I mean, they raise you. And when you get into sports, I've never been a father. I told my kids, look, I live my dream. Y'all go do yours. I'm not going to force you to do anything. If you want to play ball, go play ball. If you don't, it's not going to bother me at all. I've lived out my dream. And that's what every young child wants to do. But like when you go off to college, that's a time where now the young man has to find his way. He's going to a place where you've got coaches, and I went to Coach Donnelly, and I was fortunate enough to be able to go to a place like that. And you have to cut the cord at some point and let him grow up, be a man. He's going to have problems. There's going to be adversity he's going to face. Yeah, you're there to help him, but his coaches are coaching him. Let them coach him. Let them handle that. You stay out of it. I just don't understand what parents are doing. Like at some point, you got to become a man. I've told my wife that. Like at some point, our son has to go out, and he's done a really good job. I don't think I could have done. Like that kid's the most mentally tough kid I've ever seen because he's had to go through some stuff. But like that's what girls are different, but men becoming men, young men becoming men, you have to go find out on your own. And at some point, you got to cut the cord. And I hate that for this kid.
I do think as I look back, and it's been a long time ago now, to be that age, I still do remember what it was like when I was 19 or 20. I know some of you are shocked because you're like, that was before Willard Fillmore. No, it wasn't. But I am pretty certain that if my dad had been that out of control, I had one advantage. He didn't want to screw with my mother. My mom was a very mentally tough person who would have gotten in there and said, I have had enough of this, back off. And I don't know the family dynamic here. It's why I asked it. But the kid needs desperately a mom to yank the father by the chain and say, you are not ruining my son's life. Because that's what it feels like right now is sort of happening.
He's doing a good job of doing it right now, because if I'm a coach, like $1 million is still too much. Let's be honest. But like, if he thinks he's going to get $4 million at this point, you've already had Tulane turn you down, North Carolina turn you down, according to Tony, USC turn you down. Like, where do you go from here? Like, nobody wants that problem. If you're a coach, you don't want that problem. And I don't care. Like, Nico, he may be a good kid. I guess he is. I mean, I've heard from several people that he is, and he's in a tough situation right now with his daddy. But, like, if you're going to go into this situation, you have to sit the dad down and say, hey, you're out of it, or this is not going to work. And he's not going to allow that. And he's messing with his son's future is what he's doing.
Bingo. After the break, we'll do stat of the day, which is not likely to have a positive ending.
You never know.
Need to get Watson.
We don't need anything, Billy. We don't need anything. Just read it. Okay.
Need to get Watson on here.
Oh gosh.
Wow. You're going to catch it. And then after that, I'm going to do something I don't think I've ever done before. And maybe I opened myself up to it. And maybe I'm a little social media naive. But the story is, I put some stuff out on Facebook Saturday and said, if you've got some reaction, I'd love to hear it, whatever it is. And 140 of you cared enough to write something back to me about this. I'm going to read some of those comments. We're going to discuss, hopefully, some of the best ones that got sent to me during the 4 o'clock hour. I don't think it'll be dull. Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe y'all give me some feedback after it's over. Either way, we're trying not to violate the Geneva Convention. We're late to this break. This is 94.9 The Fan.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds open a 6-game series in Charlotte. Pre-game at 5:20.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app.
Flat Rock Motor Club is a members-only driving resort combining a world-class racetrack with exquisite amenities. Located on 800 acres of pristine countryside in the heart of Tennessee, their elite 3.5-mile club track is surrounded by sweeping views of manicured rolling hills. The charm of Tennessee can be felt with every hill you climb. Whether your beverage of choice is sweet tea or whiskey, at their premier driving resort, you will experience a sophisticated blend of country elegance and southern hospitality. For more information, log on to flatrockmotorclub.com.
It's back, the Electronic Express famous half-price fair. Now through Sunday, save up to 50% on 4K TVs, appliances, computers, gaming, washers, dryers, furniture, and more. That's up to 50% off in every department. Need expert help? We've got that. Want up to 36 months free financing? We've got that. Looking for fast delivery? You guessed it. We've got that too. Shop in-store or online anytime at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we've got that.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
All right, we're talking more Nico and Tennessee up next. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website at applecollisioncenters.com. All right, here's where we're going today. I think we're going NBA. Yeah, we're going NBA playoff theme. There's another NBA play-in game. Which random player is playing in his 6th straight play-in game and has the most points and rebounds in play-in game history?
Really? I mean, are you kidding?
Billy, if you didn't have the answer, would you know this?
No.
Exactly. You might as
Okay.
well go ahead and show that.
Hold
I have
on.
no clue.
I'm gonna take a guess.
Well,
I'm
they're
gonna
saying in the studio, DeMar DeRozan.
Well, time out. That's who I was going with.
Really?
Is
There
it
you go.
DeMar DeRozan?
It is not DeMar DeRozan.
Well, to hell with it. It was a dumb question.
You going away that easy?
Yeah, Billy, we could be here till midnight and we would not get this.
It is Jonas Valanciunas.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
First of all, we congratulate Jonas. But I've also got to be honest. I don't really care.
Yeah, that was a brutal question.
I mean, where did that one come from?
Ty.
Where did he get that one?
Is Ty listening?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Ty, come on.
He'll have a response.
Nobody could have gotten that one.
Ty is about to get a demotion.
Yeah, Jonas's parents couldn't have gotten that one. Okay. So we officially welcome all of you into the 4 o'clock hour. I sound bitter because of the question. I'm not. We're going to do something really different today. And I'm going to go to my Facebook page. By the way, old Brent says some of these questions are out to lunch. That should make Ty feel good. Ty actually does a really good job with this stuff. So, okay, most of you know, on Saturday, I went on Facebook because this felt like some of the Ron Mercer kind of stuff. Hold on. Billy, can you put the last one up there? I hate to say this. I've never done a Lady Vols game in my life. But thanks for the compliment. Okay. So we got a lot of reactions. Let me start with one that Karen and Evans put out there for me. We need salary caps on teams as well as individuals. We also need a minimum commitment from the student athlete. No one and dones or even two and dones. Much time, energy, and training has gone into these athletes only to be used by other schools. And I think, some of this goes to the I'll play the regular season, but I'm a pro and the NFL needs me, so screw the Fiesta Bowl. Y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, and that's where they're going to have to get control of that too, because if we're giving you money and this is the program you're in, the organization that you're in, you've got to put a stipulation in there that if we're paying you and we play in a bowl game, you're playing the bowl game. You have to. And she's right. I mean, it's just like we've all said, they're going to have a collective bargaining agreement at some point. I just don't know how you do it with all the sports. Like, is it going to be filtered down from like the tops or football, but like, is every school going to have the same one, or is it going to be manipulated by the schools? Like, are they going to give their football program this, their men's basketball this, the women's basketball this, baseball this, softball this, swimming? What are we? I don't know how you do that, but somebody that's smarter than me is going to have to figure all this stuff out.
Yeah, there's got to be a cap. I think that's the biggest thing that they've got to figure out right now, a salary cap. But also, there needs to be more competitive balance as well. I mean, let's give the AAC a little bit more of an opportunity. Let's give the ACC a little bit more of. Let's give the same. Big 12 isn't struggling as bad as the AC, but
I don't think admit there's never been competitive balance when it comes to college football.
But last year it was the SEC and the Big 10. Is that what we want? Do we want the two power conferences to dominate for the rest of the time and say, heck to the ACC and the Big 12 for the most part? I mean, if people want that, fine, but I mean, we got to figure that part out.
Billy, I think that is where it's going. I really do.
I mean,
it's going to be the haves or have-nots, and the ACC is looking like the next have-not.
Yeah. No, but there's got to be a cap, though. That was the takeaway from that comment I liked.
Larry is an Alabama fan. He says, I applaud Tennessee for standing their ground. I hope this sets a new precedent in college sports, but until the powers that be install some sort of binding contract that forces these players to stay obligated to the team that they've signed with for the duration of the contract, I fear this will continue. So let me start that conversation. The coaches have gotten away with this crap for years.
Yeah,
they sign a 6-year deal, and 2 years in, a higher conference takes them. And for the most part, schools have never said, wait a minute, you're under contract and you can only go if we say you can go. And to me, that's part of the problem, is that the coaches have been able to do this for years and circumvent whatever a contract's supposed to mean.
They started this. They truly did, George. They've started this a long time ago. And it's just trickling down to, and I say it. It seems like I say it every show, but like, you don't get this stuff in the NFL. Like the transfer portal is just as bad as NIL, because until you fix the transfer portal, a kid should not be able to transfer every year he wants to. Like, if you're going to do that, then what like, it's just like the NIL. We've lost our way. Like, you can transfer one time, and then after that, you should have some disciplinary actions taken on you. You got to sit out. Something's got to happen. But like, you got guys transferring every year. It's just it's a road that's leading to nowhere. Like, you can't do that in the NFL. You can't do that in Major League Baseball. You can't do that in the NBA. You can't do that at these places. And that's what they got to get control of too.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee should have to, whoever gets Nico, that team should be paying Tennessee a little bit at least. I mean, why not? I mean, that's how it is in the NFL. Where are the buyouts for players? And maybe we get there in 2-3 years, but that's another area that, this is NFL. This is professional football. This is semi-pro football. Well, why are we? I mean, that's also what has to change.
By the way, let me say, before I go any farther with these, the woman, the judge who's overseeing this agreement not an agreement yet out in California, I wish there was a way I could get her some of these comments for her to fully understand how fed up people are with where this is. So here's a comment from Frank up in Cookeville, Tennessee. He says, Haslam is a huge part of the collective, and the deal is not with UT, but the collective. I can hear Haslam saying, a deal is a deal. We upheld ours. We expect you to uphold yours.
Not with UT, but the collective. Yeah, I mean, that's who made the deal. But Nico also has the right to do what he did, whether we like it or not. The market went up. He asked for a raise, didn't get it. That's between Nico, his dad, of course, and the collective, the program.
But I just don't like it. It comes down to, and Tom Moore told me this, it comes down to greed, guys. Like, you're making $2.4 million as an 18, what is he, 18, 19 years old? Like,
let's say he's 19 or 20.
Yeah, 19 or 20 years old. Like, you're making $2.4 million. Like, just shut your mouth and go play football. And then if you're what everybody thinks you are and you're making a lot of money, then when you go to the NFL and you go to the next level, you're going to get paid again. Just like $2.4 million. Like, what? You want to try to get 1.6 more? You want to try to get $4 million? Like, for what? For who? Like, how
Well,
much is enough, you know?
to me, the most important thing that came out of Tony's deal that I really hadn't thought about is, and I don't know Nico one way or the other. I've heard some people say he's a great kid. I've also had some people in Knoxville tell me that in recent weeks he hadn't been on time for anything and that this has all been playing out, which has led me to think that Heupel needed to call both of them in and say, these are the rules, either get in or get out. But we'll wait on that for a while. But here's the thing that Tony said that really got to me. If the father is an overbearing, money grubby, whatever, this had to be weighing on this kid. And maybe explains why he really wasn't any better a year ago than he was. If he had that kind of pressure on him.
Yeah.
That is pressure that does not need to be there. You're a father, watch your son play football, and he's going to go through a lot of things playing SEC football. You're going to go through ups and downs, adversities. Be there for him, but, like, don't do what you're doing right now. Like, don't, you know, I don't know, and we don't know the family dynamics, George. We really don't. We don't know the kind of pressure he was under. We don't know if Dad was calling him saying, you got to play better or what, you know, I don't know that. But, like, at some point, like I said earlier, you got to let him grow up. You got to cut the cord. You got to let him learn how to be a man and fix things on his own. Be there to help him when he asks for help. But, like, he's got to learn this stuff.
Hopefully what happens is Nico's dad and his handler and whoever else is around him realizes that they lost him money. Right? He's not making $2.5 million with anybody else. I think we can agree with that. Now, I could be wrong there, but I think this lost him money. I think a lot of people would agree with that. Hopefully down the road, this camp, Team Nico realizes, oh, man, we screwed this up big time. We've got to change some things. Let's take a step back and let this kid be his own kid because we are starting to ruin his career.
The worst thing that could happen for this kid is for some school to throw stupid money where they can say, see, told you this was the right thing. He doesn't need that right now.
Well, and this is so public. And nothing against Nico. He's a solid quarterback. Would you bring him in right now? I mean,
me and George are on the same page. I would not. I would not want him part of my team. I would not want him leading my team. Now, I know Tony said that, you know, early in this offseason that he became a leader. He would have been more vocal. But, like, I would not want that. Like, if, you know, I said it to Watson yesterday, are these kids now have a desire and have the heart to play the game, or they just wanted to get recruited, or they just wanted to get paid? And then, you know, I brought up the Nick Saban stuff today. He had a good post, I think, on Facebook, but, like, he's saying 80% of the people you go talk to now, it's like they want to ask you two questions. It's never about education, but they want to ask you two questions. Am I going to play right off the bat? And then how much am I getting paid? That's where we're headed. Like, yeah, that's where we're headed, George. I just don't understand it.
I thought one of the most important things Watson put out there was time is against Nico. Wherever it is he goes, it's already April 15th, tax day, and happy tax day to all of you. You know, wherever he goes, man, he's got a tight window to learn all the stuff, and that can't help him at all.
No, it takes time to learn an offense. You can be the smartest guy in the world, and I picked up on offenses pretty good, but still, you've got to take what you learn in the classroom. You got to implement it in your mind. You got to take it to the field, and then sometimes, you know, what you're seeing is not the same when it gets on the field, and you got to go through that, and it takes time. It takes you a year, it takes you 2 years to really get comfortable with stuff. And, you know, just like the guys that UT's going to have to bring in now, they've already missed spring practice, so they're going to have to get caught up as well. So it's, you know, it's tough. You got to get in there. You got to watch film. You got to get with the coaches. You got to learn the offense. But, like, it's different learning it and then going out and putting it on the field. It's a totally different thing. And it's something that, you know, I would sit there and say, I've been doing it for weeks, and I'll sit there and say, oh, that's what we're trying to do. That's what I got to do next time we go out to practice, or this guy's running it this way. If we see that, it's a lot of learning that you got to do. And you're right. He's going to miss a lot. These quarterbacks that are coming into Tennessee that they're going to get has missed a lot.
More of your Facebook comments when we come back on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com. To quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Hey, Preds fans, one last game of the season tomorrow night on home ice. The Preds season finale against the Dallas Stars. The game is tomorrow night at 7. Radio pregame coverage begins at 6. We'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
So by now, virtually all of you who care at all about sports know how explosive this Nico issue is. I'm reading some of the Facebook comments that were sent to me over the weekend. Alan, talking about Nico, says he needs to steer clear from the people advising him. He had a state and a major fan base that would likely end up loving him forever. And now no one will ever want to have anything to do with him here. Okay, that is true. And I wonder if anybody in that camp cared about that, smart enough to think it, give a damn.
No, they didn't care.
I don't think they cared either.
Steer clear from people advising him. Good luck with that, with what we're hearing about his dad. I mean, choking presence, sounds like that's going to be hard to do for Nico.
Which is why I put it out there. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall the last couple of days, because at some point the kid had to have looked at the dad and said, "Are you certain this was right?"
Yeah,
because it doesn't feel like it.
Could Nico have not said, "No, Dad, I'm going to go to practice"? I mean, that makes you think. What did Nico's dad tell him?
Well, you're getting all these handlers too. I can't stand the handlers, and the agent guys. They're getting money from this. There's no guidelines for these agents. I said it yesterday. Like, mine only got a certain percentage because of the collective bargaining agreement. They agreed with that a long time ago. But and I know the NFL agents are getting upset because now any run-of-the-mill person is taking these kids. I know this for a fact because my agent told me, but now any run-of-the-mill person's getting these kids in college, and they're getting 10, 15, 20% of their money that they're promised, and they've got to do something with that too. I mean, there's so many questions that have to be answered by the NCAA and by all this, and maybe the judge out in California can give some clarification and a direct road and a direct path where the NCAA can fix this stuff. But right now, it's the wild, wild west, George.
So a media person commented to me, this is one I'd love to be able to send her. As many years as I've been covering college football, I never dreamed that it would come to this. Something must be done to control NIL, or college athletics will be destroyed and nothing more than a minor league of professional sports. Okay, where I think we are right now is we all still care about the games. We don't want to hear how the sausage is made. And it's only that shift will eventually, I think, get to, I'm not watching these games. And that's when they've really got a problem.
That's what I'm afraid of. That's what I keep asking, because there's only going to be so far, and it's all going to fall back on the consumer. UT's doing it. They're up in ticket prices. I talked to a guy at church the other day who said, I used to buy 4 tickets from UT. Now I buy 2, and the 2 that I get now were more expensive than the 4 I had long ago. So it's all going to fall on the consumer, and they're going to have to start paying this, because if you keep going back to donors and donors and donors, at some point, and it may not happen now, but 4 or 5 or 6 years down the road, these big donors are going to want to see something. They're not just going to give the money and say, hey, just have at it. I want to see some results from the money I'm giving you. I want to see a national championship. I want to see us in the playoffs at some point. And if that doesn't happen, then what happens to these donors? They're going to say, hey, I'm washing my hands of it and I'm done.
I want to say this too. I think Josh Heupel and Tennessee's collective deserve more blame than we're putting on them, because number one, Tennessee's collective is really good. They've got a ton of money, but they're known, especially in football, for these big money contracts. You got an offer from Tennessee. They know there's a lot of money involved there, and it almost felt like a match made in heaven. Where Nico, obviously, we know now his camp's focus was money. And now we're seeing it be turned on them. So, and look, I think Nico's dad and his camp are the most to blame. But I think Tennessee, Coach Heupel, and the collective are looking at this going, man, we made a mistake too on our end. We should have thought a little bit more about it. We should have been more proactive. And we should have looked at this kid a little bit more, but mostly his dad. We probably should have had another conversation with his dad. And hindsight's 2020, but I did want to throw that out there that they probably deserve a little bit more blame, at least in my opinion, than what they've gotten.
I got a rhyming one from a buddy of mine, Kyle, who said, if he was balking, you need to start walking. I like that one. Here's one back to the serious stuff. We will, John says, we will soon talk about the good old days of tradition, honor, respect, and all about the team and our grand old school. Good for UT, but the NCAA has ushered in the killing of what it means to be a part of the team. And would anybody dispute that?
No. I'm all for that. That's
if you're
I don't
Tennessee,
know the traditions. Yeah, go ahead,
if you're
Billy.
a Tennessee
Sorry.
fan right now, what you want, all you want, and I've talked to them, they want their Arch Manning, a guy that loves Texas. His dream was to play for Texas. Maybe that's George McIntyre. Maybe down the road, maybe he's their guy. Probably not this year, but that's what Tennessee needs right now. They need a leader, a quarterback that wants to play at Tennessee. He wants to be there. Grew up wanting, maybe that was his dream to play there. That comment goes in line with what Tennessee needs. They need a guy that wants to play for Tennessee.
Listen to this one. This is Raymond, who says, I believe that the NCAA should allow the universities and players to enter into a contract that is for multiple years, no more than 3, requiring academic progress, university-provided insurance coverage against injury, and providing future income in the result of an injury. Postseason play, bowl or playoff, mandatory. Portal can be used once and requires renumer or whatever the word is. In other words, you got to pay back to the university. I can't say the word. That's not saying much for me. Portal can be used once and requires that word to the university the player is leaving by the future university. Contract is voidable if the university goes on probation or the coach leaves or is fired. Cap limit on contract value. He's on to something.
Yeah, that's pretty good right there. There's a lot of that makes sense. He's absolutely right. But you got to get some clarity on all that stuff, and that's all he's saying. You have to get some clarity, and the NCAA had no plan, George. We've talked about that. They had no plan. They did not think Congress was going to pass this. They thought it was going to be the same old, and then you get it in the government's hands, and they're all about. I've always said, and I'm going to say this for the 1,000th time on here, but the kids need something. But like I was thinking $5 to $7 grand a month and something like that. But now when you're getting paid millions, like if you're getting paid millions, you should pay for your own school. Like that should come out of your money. That's my opinion. And give somebody that's not as good, that's not as glamorous, that's not going to make all that money, give him a scholarship. You pay for your own. You're making $2.4 million this year. You could put in $40,000 or whatever it is to go to school at UT. You can pay it. So I don't know where it's going. I don't know where it's going to lead to, but somebody has got to take the bull by the horns. And I always like your deal where you have the Nick Sabans of the world, the Watson Browns of the world, the Mac Browns of the world, all these guys that have been around the game and know what it means and know what it takes. And for them to put some clarity in this deal and say, hey, we need to do this. We don't need this. The transfer portal, you can't go every year. We've got to have a limit on that at some point. You got to have a limit on this money. You've got to have a cap in the athletic facility, and then football gets this, basketball gets this, baseball gets this. Somebody's got to figure it out.
I did like the
go
first.
Ahead, sorry.
I liked the first part of that, what that person said, and maybe there's schools that do this, but requiring athletes to complete, those financial literacy courses and learning how to do your taxes and contract law. I mean, because a lot of these, well, maybe not a lot, but some of these guys are going to be in the NFL in that next year or in 2 or 3 years. Is that being required at most schools? Probably not. That would help a little bit.
Mark says, I'm not an attorney, so I'm asking. What if the NCAA only allowed schools to accept 3 undergraduate transfers per year? You wouldn't stop a player who wants to transfer, but you could limit the amount of available options. And this is where our court system has totally screwed up. Because every time I bring this kind of thing to the table, I go back to remembering what Tony Barnhart said 2 years ago when we had the big panel discussion here at the Ford Ice Center. They'll rule it a restraint of trade. And, you know, somewhere in here, the courts need to wake up and realize that they are not helping this either.
No, they're not. They could put some clarity to it, and they could make it into law. But like, I don't know, man. You get the government involved in stuff, and sometimes they have a way of being like the NCAA. They mess it up.
Judge Wilkins, you're our only hope. I mean, that's pretty much what's going on right now. She's got the power.
Well, for the moment, she does, and people who know say she's a good one to be handling this. It appears to me that she's asking some good questions, which is why we've got the delay in an actual decision. After the break, we'll have a final list of these. By the way, give me feedback if you think this is a waste of time. If you like that we did this, I just want to know. This is the first time I've ever spent an hour reading Facebook texts. This is 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Here in Nashville for the 7th Country Music Marathon and Half Marathon. I think it says a lot about the city of Nashville, what it has to offer.
Rock and Roll Nashville isn't just a race. It's the best way to experience this iconic city. We're giving you more music, more fun, and more reasons to run with us. Get immersed in music culture and join us for this legendary tour of Nashville.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank & Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we are back. As you can imagine, a ton of response to what we have done so far today. And I know we're going to take a phone call in a minute. So back at the station, let me know when that call is ready. Billy, you got a couple you want to get to?
Jabari on YouTube says, should have a freshman salary cap like the big leagues have. No, that's not a generational idea that maybe no one said, but freshman cap, that would be a decent start. Benjamin also says, I think it'll be capped differently in different conferences. It's impossible to create competitive balance amongst 134 plus teams. Different conferences, different caps. Could see that. Also, George on YouTube, and George is a Vandy guy. Nico and his dad overvalued Nico's worth. However, many of the UT fans trashing him now once heralded Nico as the best Vol quarterback since Peyton Manning after the Iowa game last year. Now they backpedal.
Okay, let me get to a longtime member of this show. That would be the General, Al Dorsey.
General.
Yes, who will be back with us next year for silly underdog picks. General, how you doing?
I'm doing good, George.
Now, I know you got some stuff you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours. Go.
Well, as you know, I'm not nearly as connected as I used to be. My days have long passed. But the athletic board days and all that was 30 years ago, and so I'm long past. But I have talked to a lot of players, present players at Tennessee. I've been to practices, and I find that I like to talk to the players and former players that are now in the pros. I've talked to a number of them, recent players over the last 4 years since Heupel's been there. And the one thing that sticks out, they all like him. And I ask them, why do you like him so well? They say, because he does what he says he's going to do. Bottom line, every one of them say he says what he's going to do, period. You may not like it, but that's what happens. And I think that says a lot of what's going on right now. And the thing, of course, it's all very foreign to me. I come from a time when you played college football to play college football, but get a degree. And the NFL was sort of an afterthought. I mean, if you could, fine. If you couldn't, that wasn't going to, you had to be a professional person, even if you played in the NFL. So, it was all about getting a degree. And, you couldn't transfer then. In fact, you had to stay 4 years. Herschel Walker's the one that changed that. Took it to court and made it where players could go to the NFL early. And and the hard thing that have now is in the courts, because you can't keep somebody from making money, period.
Yep. And that's trying to do the right thing, but still keep that premise has become really hard, and we're getting some bad decisions, it feels like, because of that.
Well, first of all, there's no question Tennessee would be a better football team next year with Nico than without him. I don't care who they bring in, because he's been with the system. It takes time to develop all that. Hopefully all summer he was, and all winter he was with the receivers and doing timing and things like that. And now all that's out the window. 2 years of work is just completely thrown out the window. Now, on the other hand, will they have a great year next year, even with Nico? I have my doubts. They play Florida at Florida. They play Alabama at Alabama. Those are big, big differences.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. General,
The schedule doesn't match up that well for them.
Are you ready to defend your underdog title?
Well, it's been too long. I hadn't done it so long. Y'all are way ahead of me. So you ought to give me some type of
no.
Yeah, no.
Give me a few strokes.
Absolutely not. Not no, but hell no. This man won the underdog competition 5 years in a row. And finally, one day, I got fed up with listening to him always taking Toledo or Furman or whatever. And Kelly, I made up this thing that for our pick, that the stadium of the team you were picking had to have stands on both sides.
Both sides. That's right.
General, you remember the day I did that?
Yes, I do. and it really hurt because my pick that day was a one-sided stadium.
The general wins so much that I think he's got a bookie out in Vegas that he talks to regularly.
I always thought it was the gold sheet. But
I think so.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know. I just see him staying up the night before with all his spreadsheets, looking at what's going on and looking at all. He's analyzing all the stats, the in-game stats, all that stuff, and he's uncanny with it, and he always goes to the MAC.
Yeah,
always.
We have to be very careful with the MAC because, as you know,
once you go, you know my saying, Kelly. Once you go back, you never go back.
That's right.
You've only heard that 1,000 times.
We got to run.
All right.
Thank you.
That was my 2 cents for what it's worth.
Well, you got it in there. You knew somebody in a high place.
Not anymore.
See ya. So I got a comment here that I really want to read from a former Division I athletic director who I have a lot of respect for. There are many of those out there, but this one I very much respect. Let's remember that the NCAA is really the colleges and universities that make up the membership, and it is them that vote and make every rule, bylaw, and statute. And the Power 4 and Power 5 schools have a weighted vote advantage. Those college presidents, athletic directors, and coaches wanted to keep the system that benefited them the most financially and never saw the power of the student athlete until it was too late. Then the courts and politicians got in it, and it's been a you-know-what show ever since. That is a really good one.
That's your answer.
Hey, y'all mind if I read this Nick Saban quote?
Sure, do it.
Yeah, he had this on Facebook this morning. It says, "It doesn't matter if you yell, 'Go Dogs, War Eagle, hook 'em, go Irish, or Roll Tide.' No matter the colors you wear or the stadium you call home, every college football fan should be standing with Josh Heupel today, because this weekend, he didn't just make a coaching decision, he made a stand for what college football used to be and what it still could be if enough of us care. He stood up for crisp Saturday mornings in Knoxville when you're walking into a tailgate with your kids, full of pride, tradition, and orange everywhere you look. He stood up for late Saturday nights under the lights in Neyland with your best friends beside you watching a game that feels bigger than life. He stood up for the culture this sport has created, one built on loyalty, legacy, and love for something deeper than money. Guys like Peyton Manning didn't wear the power tee for a paycheck. Hendon Hooker didn't stick around for a bidding war. They played for Tennessee for what it meant. And this isn't a criticism of the player, but the system that allows and promotes this behavior. You were warned this was coming, that NIL would tilt the balance, that the game we love would start to lose its soul. And here we are, where the highest bidder can win, and jumping ship is just part of the process. But this weekend, Josh Heupel said enough. He drew the line. He chose Tennessee over transactions, culture over contracts. So whether you love Tennessee or love to beat them, respect the man who stood up for every fan who's ever poured the heart into this game. Thank you, Coach Heupel, for standing tall, for reminding us why we fell in love with this sport in the first place. Roll Tide, go Vols, go college football.
You know, Billy, the more that that I hear from him now that he's, quote, out of it, he's out of coaching. He's certainly not out of the game, not with that show that he's involved in every Saturday. And God knows how many coaches seek out his advice. But when people say he ought to be the commissioner of something, I'm starting to be with them.
Oh, it's a no-brainer.
No-brainer. I think it's the right thing to do. Like he's got the interest of the game at heart, and you know he sees where it's going. That's the reason he got out. I really believe that if this stuff was not happening right now, Nick Saban would still be coaching at the University of Alabama.
Yeah, and the fact that he got out right when he did, he was spot on. He was right on it, and he knew this was coming. I think a lot of us knew it might be coming, but it's here. We need somebody. Now, I don't know if it's Saban. I don't know who it is, but somebody has to step up and take the reins of this thing because it's not getting any better, and it's going to get worse before it does get better.
Yeah. I think
Brian is asking ADs concerning the request for Congress to intervene. Are you sure that's really what you want? Well,
it's what
to me,
you gotta have.
To me, the answer is, let me see how I say this. In lieu of any sanity coming out of the court system, the NCAA, the whatever, we got to start somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, and I just don't know where it goes, man. I really don't. But I just hope that it gets fixed. I hope that they work this out. But right now, there's no rules, no regulations. There's no tampering deals. Like everybody's, even Tony said it. I mean, they've already been in contact with some quarterbacks in the Big 12. So that's, before this stuff that's tampering. That's like, are we going to allow this? You can't allow that. If you get caught in the NFL, you get a hefty fine. But that's tampering. That's what it is. And I don't know. The rules have got to mean something, and they've got to have somebody like a Nick Saban, like a Watson Brown, like a, thinking of a baseball guy like Skip Berkman that used to be at the LSU, like somebody that's been around this college landscape for a long time and knows the ins and outs of it, and somebody that can bring some sense to all this stuff, which we do not have right now.
Billy, a former intern of mine said, George is a great boss, by the way. Never thought we'd hear that, did we? But he goes on to say, no deal should be worth more than the NFL rookie minimum salary. You know what? Intern's a smart cat.
I like that.
I mean, he absolutely was 100% right at the beginning. Billy, I don't know about that. I have been a great boss.
Oh my
Second part, yeah. First part, I don't know.
First part, are you disputing it?
Maybe.
Samuel says the name on the front of the jersey will always be bigger than the one on the back. Even though I went blah, 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 blah. I had a little problem getting that out there, didn't I?
And I think that's one good thing that Josh Heupel said. Nobody's bigger than the program, not even himself. I mean, he's the coach, but there's been many coaches, and in that profession, you get fired. You don't have the Johnny Majors, the Philip Fulmers that stick around for decades. It's just not like that anymore. It's crazy how that's gone. And you know what? When we're talking about that meant something to those guys. That was their job. They wanted to stay there. Now it seems like everybody it's a stepping stone to go somewhere else.
Okay, two friends of mine reached out. One says, Kenny says, it makes Saban look even more brilliant with his timing of departure from what used to be college football. Touche. And then another former athletic director on a smaller level says this Z generation should stand for zero loyalty.
That's right.
What did we accomplish in this hour? Probably not much. But you know what? I'm prepared to put that committee together. Watson Brown's going to be on it. So is Mac. So is David Cutcliffe.
Yes.
If I can ever reach him, Nick Saban would be on that.
I could get in touch with him. I
You
got
think-
you, George.
You think it'd be okay to put Boots on there?
Oh, absolutely. Coach needs to be on there, but he wouldn't do it. I mean, he wouldn't do it. He's like, I'm out of it, son. I don't even want to get around that. These people are crazy now, son.
Yeah, he's so fed up. He's not even talking about it anymore.
Coach Holtz, would you join the committee?
Coach Holtz probably would join the committee, but I hadn't been feeling up to par here lately, George, so I don't know if I can hold, but I would love. Maybe you can Zoom me into the meeting. I would do that. I don't know if I would show up in person, though.
We'll get Billy to take care of that. Plaster bet of the day, where we're on a 4-game winning streak, by golly, is coming up
Wow.
next to the chagrin of Kelly Holcomb. This is
Yes.
94.9 The Fan.
Hey, Preds fans, one last game of the season tomorrow night on home ice. The Preds season finale against the Dallas Stars. The game is tomorrow night at 7. Radio pregame coverage begins at 6. We'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
It's back. The Electronic Express famous half-price fair. Now through Sunday, save up to 50% on 4K TVs, appliances, computers, gaming, washers, dryers, furniture, and more. That's up to 50% off in every department. Need expert help? We've got that. Want up to 36 months free financing? We've got that. Looking for fast delivery? You guessed it. We've got that too. Shop in-store or online anytime at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we've got that.
Do you ever feel like gambling is causing financial strain or hurting your relationships? The Gambling Clinic has been helping people change their gambling habits for over 2 decades. With physical clinics and remote online appointments, we're here to help you make informed decisions about your gambling. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com so we can work together to help you win back your life. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. Brought to you by the Tennessee Gambling Clinic, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We're recording. Big Ten.
Final segment on a
Is that bump music or a monologue? What the hell was that?
I'm not really sure what that was. But we do have bet of the day brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. We take a look at
Whatever the hell that thing is, turn it off.
we take a look at last night.
Oh, now he plays it a little louder. I love it.
Got a win with the Yankees.
Well, yes, we're committed to excellence.
George, how do you feel about that?
I wasn't real. I mean, I would have been a winner no matter what. If they'd lost, I'd have been thrilled. They won, I'll take credit. Kelly, here's what we're doing tonight. We're going San Diego Padres. They are undefeated at home. They're something like 12-0, but they are substantial dog tonight to a much improved Chicago Cubs, to which I say, screw it. We're going with the undefeated at home Padres. Book it.
Oh, book it. Okay.
First book it in a
Go
while.
Cubs. Go Cubs.
Wow.
Chai Cubs, man. Let's go.
Yeah. Tomorrow, Mike Organ. I'm sure there are a bunch of things that we're going to get into with him. And then Terry McCormick will join us for the 4:00 hour. We're about a week and 2 days from the NFL draft. And he says the Titans have made the decision to go with Cam Ward and he's going to explain to us how they came to that decision. Hope you'll tune in. For Kelly Holcomb, for Billy Derrick, for the General Al Dorsey, and for Tony Basilio, George Plaster. Good night, everybody.